Now, one of the biggest questions that I think a lot of people ask themselves is, why does Phoebe Waller-Bridge have so much influence over many of the movies that she's involved in, such as Bond 25, the, of course, soloist Star Wars story movie, as well as Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny. As it turns out, she comes from a rich family. For those of you that do not know, she knows a lot of Hollywood producers. She's really, like, in the know. She has a lot of networking, and she considers herself a creator. And for some reason, she is able to influence a lot of her ideas to spill into the creator's vision. Be it James Mangold or Ron Howard, it doesn't matter. A lot of her ideas turn into contributions to the actual story. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into exactly what's going on with Phoebe Waller. Now, we already know that she's in a bit of a trouble right now. There's a lot of studios, a lot of production studios specifically, beginning to write her off, beginning to blacklist her, banish her, etc., etc. Very similar to what happened with Brie Larson. Alright, we all know that she's another prime example of somebody that really tarnished her career through insufferable roles over the past couple of years. Same exact scenario with Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Now, when you go down to the basics, we know that there's a lot of things happening between Lucasfilm and Disney. Lucasfilm right now has a lot of budgeting limitations, but a lot of fans were very unhappy with Indiana Jones 5. This is why the box office results were disastrous for Lucasfilm. Kathleen Kennedy and Phoebe caused them to lose hundreds of millions. However, with actress Phoebe Waller-Bridge beginning to come out more and discuss her role in Indy 5 and the wide backlash, she went on to deliver the following to both Indy and Star Wars fans alike. I just think that we live in a day and age where men are so frightened about the idea of a woman or even a all-female-led project, be it in film or television, making them feel unrelatable to the story, and it's quite unfortunate that they think that this way. It can be for Star Wars, it can be for Indy, and heck, even for Marvel. We tend to have this loud and opinionated minority on the internet that think that they are the majority. I think sometimes these fandoms just need to shut up for a moment and look at themselves in the mirror of what they really look like, because these attitudes by men are very unattractive. I have noticed this with Dial of Destiny. The fandom just could not handle the fact that this film was meant for the next generation, much like Star Wars was by Disney. These fans just need to grow up, she says, and get some fresh air. These are nothing more than fictional stories. They are movies, so who cares if you break down your iconic heroes a bit? Now guys, let me just pause here for a second. So what Phoebe Waller-Bridge is really delivering here is she believes that people are frightened about all-female-led shows or movies or a film that has a female as the main character, where in reality that's not the case. I cannot stress this enough. We have had prime examples for decades of where this scenario actually works, and it works perfectly. You know, I don't have to list the examples, I've said this many, many times, but to keep it very short, Sarah Connor and Ellen Ripley, there you go. The problem here is that you have Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who is so enwrapped in her confidence, in her overconfidence about what she thinks the general public wants to see and what she thinks that the general public does not want to see. She has this warped vision of reality, basically is what makes up all of Disney and Lucasfilm, so I'm not all that surprised that Phoebe is the same way. But she believes that the fans, be it Star Wars, Marvel, Indiana, it doesn't matter, she believes that they have a problem with, you know, their iconic heroes returning in their older years. And again, that's not the issue at hand. It's how they are presented, how they are written and executed. If you look at what they did to Indiana Jones in the 5th film, it was horrible. If you look at what they did with Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, it was awful. And if you also look at other examples, it's not just with Disney, it's also with a lot of other franchises out there, where some of them failed, and others of which succeeded beyond expectations. You know, quite honestly, I feel that 2010 was a great time, you know, to bring in, you know, Tron Legacy. I think that Jeff Bridges did a great job at portraying an older role of someone, and it worked. I think it worked fine. You know, nobody had an issue with that. So clearly, fans don't have a problem with older characters or older iterations of past characters coming in. It's how they are presented and how they are respected. That's where Phoebe doesn't get it. So, moving onwards, she goes on to elaborate further. They are meant to evolve like real human beings, she says. This is why I never understood the backlash that Lucasfilm got for both The Last Jedi, which I love by the way, and our Indiana Jones 5 film. Young fans seem to have a problem with characters that are up in their age and past their prime, and making it back to the big screen. As a creator, I will never understand some fans, but I know Kathy is still discussing a sequel to The Dial of Destiny, but they have no clue if they want it to be a movie or a series. Yeah, good luck with that, Lucasfilm. She goes on to elaborate further. I haven't really been contacted on that lately, nor have I been involved in any conversations for that at all. So it's all a wait-and-see situation. Dial of Destiny, I feel, outperformed how we left off with The Last Crusade and the Crystal Skull film. The ending was my idea, and I loved how James executed it on screen. By the way, when she says James, she's talking about James Mangold, the writer and the director, who allowed, by the way, he is at fault here too, by the way, guys. Let's just be honest. He allowed many of Phoebe Waller-Bridge's ideas to spill into his script, to go into his story. A lot of things were changed even while they were filming, and that goes to show you how disastrous the production really was. This is why there were some changes made to the ending multiple times, very much like what happened with The Rise of Skywalker, the final Star Wars movie, by the way, back in 2019. And on top of that, we also know that Phoebe Waller-Bridge still seems to stand by her opinion that she believes that Indiana Jones 5 is going to have a sequel. It's not going to have a sequel. It never will, and I don't expect it to even go past the development phase. Anything can be in development. Let me just, make this openly clear to everyone. Anything can be in development for X amount of time. That doesn't really mean anything. It means that they are brainstorming ideas, they're having conversations, they're putting it on hold, and kind of trying to gather up an idea on how to really create this thing. Prime example, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, has had a movie in development for well over 4 to 5 years now, which was a sequel to Big Trouble in Little China. A soft reboot to be more exact, and that really went nowhere. It's been stagnant for years. I think the same exact thing will apply here for the Indy 5 sequel, be it a movie or a TV show. Like she says, she has no idea. Kathleen Kennedy said the same exact thing. She doesn't know if it's going to be a movie or a sequel, but they're still open to that, blossoming over at Lucasfilm. In the end, it would be foolish for them to pursue a sequel if it's not going to include Indiana Jones himself, nor if it doesn't include Harrison Ford. If you want to maybe do a younger iteration of the character through perhaps deepfake technology, you might have a chance, but even that, I'm not quite sure if it's going to roll with the fans. But anyway, drop a comment below, guys. Fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to moon we hear them moans again.